Welcome to another edition of Press Play. I'm your host, Zelman Sanders. We got a good show for you today. We got Mizzou, SLU lose after some good games. We have Pat Fitzgerald, Northwestern football team, signs a 10-year deal. MVP, NBA, who you got? We'll be right back with more Press Play.
Jamison Williams. I attend Carnegie College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She get me loose. When I'm running my routes, I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
Hey, welcome back. I'm going to start with my host, Will the Thrill Franklin. What's up with you, man?
What's up, big dog?
T. Cole, T.Y., what I call him. What's going on?
What's good, man? You ready to work?
Oh, yeah, I'm ready to work, man. I'm definitely going to talk about SLU, Mizzou. We was just talking about them. They had made some good. We was hoping SLU came back because due to the COVID and everything, they came back. And Mizzou just had a great win, beating Tennessee. I'm going to start with you, Will. Mizzou, what you think happened?
I think it was a hangover.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I think it was a hangover. That game that they played against Tennessee was one that did go down to the final minutes of that game. And the excitement, but also just what it took to win that game carried over into another game that you played less than 24 hours later. So I think it was just a hangover. But they also played a very, very good team. You know what I mean? Auburn, you know what I mean? They didn't start off well, but since they've been in conference play, they've been a problem.
And we talked about that because I wasn't really sold on the SEC, but now you're seeing all these teams. Florida just beat Tennessee. Mizzou beat Tennessee, but then Mizzou loses to Auburn. So now the SEC, like we get into the meat of the conference play and seeing where they're going to position. What you think about Mizzou with Auburn?
Now, the Sharif Cooper effect happened. I mean, he's really been on a tear lately. And honestly, he was able to control the game. He had 28 points. He had like 7 assists, 8 rebounds. So he was able to actually, put a lot of pressure, and he was efficient. He was only 5 for 12 from the field, but that means you were getting to the line.
Get to the line a lot.
You know what I'm saying?
Right,
and he was able to put pressure on the Mizzou guards, and he actually had, it was 3 guards from Mizzou that fouled out. Yeah. So, that was, his effect of coming back. I mean, I think that kid is a top 15 kid probably in the draft. I mean, he shot up. I mean, he was a guy that couldn't play at first, didn't know if he was going to be eligible to, man, he played. They've inserted him, and he's honestly looked like one of the best freshmen, honestly.
Yes.
So you hear, Will, one of the things we talked about in Mizzou, you hear about their seniority with Mizzou, but you just heard them talk about the hangover. Now, I'm going to ask you, then I'm going to go to Will. If we're talking about seniority, seniors or the camaraderie of being together, you don't supposed to have hangovers. So what you think about that? Is that going to affect them if they get big wins and then letdowns? Because in the tournament, you can't have no letdowns. Either you playing good or you not. And if you have seniority, you don't supposed to be letting down or having hangovers from one big win because you expect to be there. So what you think?
I think SLU is a team that, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know who's the straight bucket getter on the team. Like, they don't have one guy that I feel like, hey, man, let's calm it down. We can throw it to him. He can go get me a bucket. You know, they play good basketball. They have good pieces. Now, Drew Smith, he had 21. Jeremiah Tillman had 21 as well, too. And that was huge. But I sometimes think that they're so good defensively, I want to see them a little bit crisper in the half court.
Okay, and like you said, with SLU coming back, if they would have won, of course, you loving for them to win. But I'm going to stick with Mizzou with you. You said the hangover. But again, the seniority, Tillman and them, they doing their thing. If you was Conzo Martin, what would you say to them after this loss?
Oh, man, keep your heads up. You got to get ready for the next game. You know what I mean? When you get into conference play, you go from playing every 4 days to almost every other day.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they probably play Saturday again. I'm not sure when they play again, but I'm sure it's very quick. Get right back into it. You know what I mean? Get some rest. Stay safe. You know what I mean? COVID is the enemy out here. But get back into doing what we do. You know what I mean? Of course, they played a pretty solid defensive game for the most part, but you had 3 guys fall out.
Right,
you know what I mean? So how aggressive were they on the perimeter to allow this young man to get to the line as many times as he did?
Man, like you say, 5 for 12.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Get to the line as many times as he did, and you foul out 3 different guards.
Right.
So get back to the fundamentals of playing defense, and let's see where we go from there.
So do you attribute that, with them falling out, do you attribute that to aggressive defense? Do you attribute that to lack of being in tune with the game or committing? Because you know you can say it's defense, but we know you can commit silly fouls.
Yep.
I really honestly think I can't take away that kid's moment. I really think it was just Sharif Cooper being special that night.
Okay.
I ain't gonna lie to you, I didn't put too much stock into the loss. Like I wasn't like, oh man, I'm worried about it. No.
Yeah,
It was a guy that was special and he was able to be special and it wasn't an answer for him. That's all it was. I didn't put too much stock in it. And I think Mizzou, for majority of nights, they're gonna be better than that, you know? But that guy was just the best player on the court that night.
He was the best player on the court.
So with SLU, you said they're coming back. Do you think they're going to catch their groove and make, like we said, it would be nice if Mizzou, SLU, and Illinois make it to the Sweet 16. From what you've seen with them last night, I know it's early because they haven't played many games. Do you think they can catch their groove and get into that mode where you feel confident that they can make the Sweet 16?
I'm going to be honest with you. I think they will be fine. But one of the things that I seen the other night was a team that wasn't hungry. You know what I'm saying? Like you could tell, yeah, it's different. Yeah, you're in practice competing, but that month off, I'm gonna be honest, it hurt them, you know? And for a team in Dayton who's had a couple bad losses in the year, they were hungry. They knew SLU was vulnerable, and they came in and they were big. So for me, SLU, I think they will be fine. And Javonte Perkins, he had 4 fouls that game. He didn't really shoot it that well. Yeah, he had a big bucket late to tie, but he wasn't as good. Neither was Jordan Goodwin. But those two, I think they'll catch their groove and they'll be fine.
Yeah.
So we talking about this because we know we're finna get into conference play, then we're gonna go to conference tournament, then hopefully all those teams make it to the tournament. Now I'm looking at Mizzou being in the SEC. I'm hoping they could be anywhere from a 2 to maybe a 4 seed. I will hope 2. What do you think they have to do to garner at least a 2 seed, maybe a 1 seed in the tournament?
They would have to win the tournament, the SEC tournament. There's nowhere around it. If you win that, you know what I mean, they would solidify, along with the wins that they'll have versus ranked teams, they would solidify themselves as a top-tier team to get one of those 1 or 2 seeds. Now, do I think there'll be a top 1 seed? No. I think there's some other programs out there that are better collectively than them, but a 2 or 3 or 4,
I can see
I
them
definitely
2 or
can
3 or
see
4.
them around that range and possibly getting the first round bye. You know what I mean? But you will have to win the SEC championship.
Yeah. So what you think, SLU? What at best, what seed you think they can get in the tournament?
Honestly, I think they're about a 5 or 6 seed. To be completely honest, I don't think they're not the 1, 2, or 3 or 4 just because of the schedule is not as gruesome as the SEC or something like that. But I think they'll probably. But I don't know if they can catch fire. Maybe when they.
So they're A10, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
If they
so
catch
then when
the
they're
A10,
A10, you think that only gets them a 5 seed?
Depends.
It's A10.
It's the
Yeah.
I mean,
You know what I mean? It's
the
not
4th
one-
I would say is the highest. Honestly, you know.
No matter what.
Coming out of AC,
Yeah.
that's a high.
Yeah, that's
you know
a
what I
high.
mean? Yeah.
Being,
You know what I mean?
you
Because their
basically
conference
said I'm a
almost,
16
you
team.
put them in the same conference as you would think the American conference, like Conference USA. Like they're not the power 5 conferences. So yeah,
So you
that's
still
still
feel
big.
confident in where? Do you feel confident in where they are?
Who SLU?
Yeah, right now.
I think so. I think, honestly, that loss probably is going to help them more.
Yeah.
Because it's going to let them look in the mirror and say, you know what, I got to come out here and actually play.
Okay, so I mean, like we said, we talked about the losses, but it's still a lot of ball in that. So we could keep talking about it, but we got to press play on that, and we'll be back with more press play.
I'm Jamison Williams. I attend Carnegie College Preparatory High School in St. Louis, Missouri. I'm a wide receiver committed to the University of Ohio State. I see a lot of great things in Dr. Hayes. She get me loose. When I'm running my routes, I feel agile. Also on the track, it's the same thing, so I'm really loose running my races.
I'm Dr. Connie Hayes with Fit for Life Sports and Rehab. If you want a competitive edge on the field, call me, 314-532-0957.
Hey, welcome back to more Press Play. We're going to go into the next topic. We got Northwestern football coach signs a 10-year deal. We ain't seen a deal like that, since Gruden with the NFL.
Pat Mahomes.
Right, you know what I'm saying? You rarely hear about 10-year deals. Yep. It's just somehow if the coach keep winning, they just get extended. But just to come right out with a 10-year deal at Northwestern, Pat Fitzgerald, he set himself up. And hopefully, I want to start with you, Will. How do you think that affects Northwestern, and what do you think Pat Fitzgerald bring to Northwestern and the Big Ten? I
think that just for a staff alone, outside of just Pat, it just let them know that what they've been doing the past 4 years is the trajectory of what they're trying to complete and be a top-tier team, not only in the Big Ten but in the country, is going to happen. And the university has just literally made a commitment like you're made to a Pat Mahomes in the sense like, you're our guy, we're sticking with you, and we love what you're doing with the program. You know what I mean? Like, for a head coach in any sport to have that kind of security speaks volumes to the university. You know what I mean? So it's kudos to them because you don't see that in college sports. Right. You know what I mean? College sports is a turnover league. You know what I mean? Right. It's either you're riding your wave or not. Nick Saban don't have a 10-year guaranteed. So in a couple of years, I'm sure him and his agents are going to be back up to Alabama, probably demanding more for what he has done in the last 10 years. I mean, with what he has done, I mean, it's good. So I'm gonna ask you, T.Y. I mean, seeing that you know about recruits and everything, what do you think that do for recruiting for Northwestern, knowing that it's a possibility for 10 years that this coach that's recruiting you, he's going to be there?
One of the biggest things that I hear in recruitment, coaches, you can't decide or understand when coaches are going to move, but to know when a coach has some security, that makes recruits feel like, okay, that's a good spot, or they're actually serious. And that lets you know that they're serious about what they're trying to do with their program. I think for Fitzgerald, honestly, I think that it makes sense at Northwestern. I think it makes completely the most sense. I mean, for what he's done, they went to the Big Ten Championship last year. You know what I'm saying? He was Coach of the Year. I think it was like the Bob Doley or something like that. Bobby Dodd, National Coach of the Year. So I think that's big time for him. And honestly, I think it's a match made in heaven, honestly.
Right, because when you think about that, Northwestern, to most, is known for education.
Yep, the academics.
So when you think about that and saying how they've been slowly progressing, they're just not no easy win in the Big Ten no more.
Facts.
You got to come through there ready to play, or they'll hit you in the mouth. Yep. So, a lot of those coaches, when they do that, whether it's the Utahs, the Cincinnatis with Brian Kelly, a lot of them guys get cherry-picked and brought to the big schools. So you know how it has been that you played in the SEC. What does that do for those other schools, the Auburns and all those schools who be trying to find the next big thing outside of a Nick Saban, or even with Les Miles when he was doing his thing? How does that change the trajectory of those schools? Because they always looking like they took the coach from Boise State. So now with him having a 10-year deal, what do these other big schools do?
See, I don't think the other bigger schools, the bigger programs are going to make commitments like that, because their university really thrives off winning national championships. So the Alabamas, the LSUs, the Auburns, they have to go after the big fish no matter what. They cannot have 3-4 down years. Right. One down year in one of them schools, no matter who you are, you're out of there.
Yeah, they side.
You know what I mean? It's you out the door. Yeah. So what they did in Northwest is unheard of, and it would help their university even more, because now, if I'm a player getting recruited there, and I play there, I spend 5 years of my life there, and I leave for 5 years, I still can come back and my coaching staff will be around. And I can come back and I can reach back into that program and help the next young man that came through and understand, hey, coach is this, and that. You know what I mean? Pat, he's a true man in his word. And the fact that they gave him this kind of deal, along with the facilities that they built up there. See, people don't know the facilities up there is beautiful. That just, it levels the playing field when you're talking about the Ohio States, the Michigan, and that Big Ten.
Right. And what I was saying, when you talk about, even in the Midwest, when you talk about Indiana, Notre Dame, and all that, you can imagine if you're a parent and you want your son to go there and you still concerned about his future as a man. You're still on the outskirts of Chicago, and you're talking about business. It's one of the top business schools in the country. So you can get your education, because everybody don't go pro. No. But if you're good enough to get that they recruit you, now you're looking at that as in a bigger spectrum. They could become what? the Stanford of the Midwest or Cal Berkeley, something like that. So it allows them to recruit those type of guys.
Yep.
You have somebody like Marcellus Wiley who went to Columbia. That guy right there could not go to Columbia, and you can have him at Northwestern, and he'll be a baller.
Yep.
And I
That's
think-
major.
In the Big Ten.
Yeah.
And I think Northwestern is honestly a good location.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
I mean, it hits a good amount of spots.
Right.
Yes.
I would like to see him come here and recruit a little bit more, but
And I'm
you
sure
know.
he will. You know what I mean? I'm sure he will. Now that he basically can kick his feet up and like, okay, let's do it my way now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I now have the security. And that's one thing in college sports. A lot of coaches can't be who they need to be for themselves because they got to do a job first. And when you get secured like that, you can kick your feet back like, okay, you know what I mean? As long as you don't do anything to tarnish the program, they're going to allow you to make your mistakes and do the things that you want to do your way now because you're proving to us that you can handle this on your own.
And an
So,
alumni has major money.
Yep.
Even just outside of football, because we're talking about a business school.
Yep.
Like you said, with it being Chicago area, that gives a whole different dynamic to education, to living, to rubbing hands with people, with people that's just fans of Northwestern football.
Yep.
So like you said, with 10 years, I can go there, get my education. Hopefully I make it to the league. If not, I can build with these guys.
Yep.
And I have, even on the low end, just with me, you talking about these athletes who come back and show you love.
Yep.
Now, you could be that person that puts them over the top and have them not only competing for a Big Ten championship, but winning one.
Yep.
That's major if you at Northwestern.
And one of the biggest things for me is I'm happy he didn't go trying to chase something.
Yes.
Right.
You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? A lot of these coaches,
Right.
they get into trying to chase something, and then that ain't, you know, first of all, that administration don't want you to do you.
Yep.
They want you to do, and sometimes you might even be a fill-in
Yep.
guy, you know?
And you look up, you back a coordinator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It happens that way.
Right.
Yeah,
You know?
and like y'all said, it happens that way because we've seen some coaches leave certain places. Everybody's not Jim Tressel. Everybody's not Nick Saban.
Yep.
Everybody can't just go from program to program and make it good.
Yep.
And I think it was smart for him, and I think it was smart for the university.
For sure.
Because now we watch football based on that coach at Northwestern.
Yep.
Yeah, that's Pat Fitzgerald's
Right.
culture. That's his team.
Right,
You know
and a
what
lot of them think, when you think Nick Saban, you think Alabama, but now when you think Northwestern, you think Coach Fitzgerald. So that's a good thing, and I appreciate you guys. We're gonna have to press pause on this. Appreciate you guys discussing that, and we'll be back with more Press Play.
Just One Taste is moving on up. Located now in the heart of Florissant, 18 Patterson Plaza, serving the best chicken, fish, shrimp, tripe, and soul food sides. We also have catering and food truck services. And after one taste, you will be a customer for life.
Hello, I'm Simeon the Mortgage Man with Bank Midwest Mortgage. I have over 20 years of experience as a mortgage banker, and our state-of-the-art secure online mortgage center allows you to conveniently submit your application and documents online. Call me now at 314-485-9838 or apply online at simeonthemortgageman.com. Allow our family to help your family reach your goal of home ownership. Simeon the Mortgage Man with Bank Midwest Mortgage.
Welcome back to more Press Play. We're just gonna hop right into it. Y'all know this big topic, NBA basketball, All-Star. We wanna know we know some of the good players came back. KD came back. He's looking like the old Kevin Durant. But we wanna talk about, who do you think is MVP? I'm gonna start with you, Ty. I know who I'm going with, but who do you got as an MVP?
Man, I got to go with that guy that's in year 18.
Ooh.
He plays for the Los Angeles Lakers. I mean, the fact that he's in year 18 with a burner now from 3.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I'm going to be honest with
Yeah.
you. I've been a LeBron James fan since the beginning of time. So to see the evolution and seeing the different generations of how he's changing his game is pretty crazy. You know what I'm saying? Because it was like, even in Miami, he was a different player. Even coming back to Cleveland the second time, tweaked his game. So now to see him being a lethal shooter, it's pretty special. So he's my MVP right now.
Yeah.
It's like he's taken a lot of people's games that came before him. Because remember, Jason Kidd couldn't shoot. Then he became a three-point assassin.
Jason Kidd,
Yeah.
Vince Young, you know what I mean? Them were guys that Vince Young was definitely, I would put him more with LeBron category in the sense of
Athleticism
you was
and
super
how he-
athletic,
yeah,
you know what I mean?
yeah.
And as your career got up in numbers, his jumper got better. I'm
Yeah.
like, Vince Young hitting jumpers now.
And like
you
you
know what I
said,
mean?
even how he can bump
Yeah.
and still pull up
Yeah.
that fade, that's Jordan-esque.
Yeah.
That's like Jordan-esque and Dirk.
Yeah.
Cause Dirk had that
Dirk,
one-legged
yeah, that one leg, yeah.
from the side, from the elbow.
Yeah.
He did his thing. So I'm cool with that. I can't complain about him being in the race. Who you got?
Yeah. I would love to go with the King, and he's playing phenomenal, but KD is out the charts right now, man. Like, that dude, it don't look like he went through an injury.
Right.
You know what I mean? It looks like, man, he left Golden State, and he's here to prove that I'm the best player in the world.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's no offense to no one in the league, but the guy can score at every level.
Every level.
However you want it. You know what I mean? You want post up, you want his back to it, you want mid-range, you want to stretch it out to the logo.
Yeah.
Wherever you want it, he
Yeah,
can give it to
yeah,
you. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So
yeah.
he's playing phenomenal right now. And, you know, hopefully they can really get it together up there, which is why I still give LeBron the edge, because everywhere he's went, he always elevates everyone's
they
level
contenders.
around him. You know what I mean?
And AD ain't been AD all
You,
the way.
know, you get what I'm saying? Like, and AD is a guy that's averaging double figures,
Yeah.
but you talking about the Caldwell Popes of the world. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't averaging almost 16
He getting them
points
open
before.
shots.
You know
He
what I mean?
went
So
7 for 10 on one game in threes.
I'm going with KD, but it's hard to go against the King with how he just makes everyone better and still be that guy. You know what I mean?
Well, I love this. All of us is not necessarily picking the same person. Man, I got Joel Embiid.
What?
I feel that.
Yeah.
I feel that.
He's been quiet this year,
He
which
has
is
been.
I'm liking that. You know what I mean? Like,
He
stop all the
dominating.
antics and talking. Like, play ball.
He came in the league better shape.
Yeah.
I like how they put shooters around him outside of Ben Simmons, and he's dominating. He's dominating. He's dominating everybody he's playing.
Yeah.
Everybody he dominated the Nets. Like, there's no answer for him, and I love that now it makes sense for the big man to get more love and watch him say, this is who they've been wanting to see since you came in the league, because we know you can shoot the shot, but can't nobody guard you in the block.
Whether it's from the elbow or the block, he can do some things at his size that I haven't seen.
No.
You know what I mean?
No.
Like, Jamel McGee was one of the ones I was like, damn, he's super athletic. You know what I mean? But Jamel McGee couldn't handle it.
Nah.
Joe can do everything at 7'2", whatever he may be. Like, the guy is gifted. My biggest thing with him was you had a lot of antics and you want to shoot so many jumpers. You know what I mean? Like, that's not why they drafted you. You know what I mean? Like, you out there in California working out with Brad and then working on step backs.
Right.
You know what I mean? That's not your game. You know what I mean?
Right. It shouldn't
Glad
be your
you
game.
got into your repertoire.
Right.
You know what I mean? But at the same time, man, do what they drafted you for. You know
So this is
I'm
what I'm gonna do, Ty. Because I since we all kind of picked 3 different people, I want you to push back on me on why Joel Embiid's not the MVP.
Well, why he's not the MVP?
Yeah, talk to me.
I think for one, a guy, man, that's hard. Because, I mean, you got a good case. I ain't going to lie to you.
I mean,
Joel
we
Embiid
know all 3
he's
players
my
are
number
worthy of
2.
it.
Yeah.
Well, I ain't going to say he's my number 2 because Kevin's my
I
number 2.
was just gonna say that's hard.
Kevin's my number 2. You know what I'm saying? No, he is the number 2. But with what Joel Embiid has been able to do with his team this year, you know. But I just don't think I don't think he can sustain it, if that makes sense. One is health.
Yeah.
And 2, I know, and I just always feel like he's gonna result back to wanting to shoot jumpers. You know, I just don't think that's at some point when he gets banged up, that seems like that's just what he results to.
But for me, I gotta credit Doc for his success right now.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Doc has been around bigs. He's been around athletic bigs.
Yeah.
He had Blake Griffin in his prime. He had Jordan in his prime. You know what I mean? Like, DeAndre Jordan was an animal.
And he coached the KD. He coached Kevin Garnett.
Yeah, you know what I mean?
So doing that, he know greats, and he's seen greats.
So that presence alone has given us this debate right now on why Joel Embiid should be considered an MVP right now.
Because now you got me thinking, you right. KD definitely.
But I'm gonna push back on that one.
And I feel
I'm gonna push back on that
and
one.
the
How?
thing is
I'ma
I
push
feel
back
the
on that
pushback.
one.
The only thing you pushing back on gotta be the record.
Yes,
it
but that's the
can't
same case for Joel
You can't
Embiid.
say only, then say record. That don't go together.
But again, that's the same case with Philly. You know what I
But
mean?
no,
It's
Philly,
the records.
But Philly, what? Philly 12-6, 13-6.
12-6.
Yeah.
So again,
they 11-8.
KD, but KD, you can't go. You can't lose to Cleveland.
Man, they got a depleted team in Boston. Brooklyn right now.
But yeah, you wanted James Harden.
yeah.
And and
They got somebody out the Cavs,
They're not
didn't
even playing defense. So if nothing else, we know Lakers got one of the better defensive teams.
Yeah.
And you know Philly got one of the best defensive teams. And you know Joel Embiid is a defensive stalwart. So it's like, I'm not saying he's not up for MVP. KD is. However, I wouldn't put him above LeBron or Joel Embiid. You got two other superstars with you, so that's gonna hurt him. That's gonna hurt him. And once his minutes,
30 a night
but
still.
once his minutes start to, you talking about health. He's playing 40 minutes on a torn Achilles.
Yeah, I
that
ain't gonna lie though, but he almost had 2 years off though.
I understand.
You
Yeah,
know
true,
what I'm saying?
true,
So
true.
it ain't like
I
it ain't the
understand.
normal
No,
coming back from the Achilles.
But
Yeah.
he still was that same size and still tore it. See, once you tear something like that, he's just blessed because he wasn't big as Joel Embiid. He's not as big as LeBron. So since he's not carrying a lot of weight,
Yep.
he don't have to. But playing him 40 minutes because y'all don't have depth, that can put stress on that Achilles.
Yep, for sure.
So
I
when you
agree.
start
But
talking
they-
about sustaining, you got to be conscious of that.
But they actually are. They got enough pieces around too. Where's games where you can rest them on the back to back.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Because when they
Yeah,
rest them, they lost.
But you do got to you got a former MVP, you got a perimeter all-star. out there.
Yeah.
They should be able to take
But they-
opposite days to rest those
But
guys.
see, they lost a lot of their depth. So even when
They
he did
did.
play against Miami, they lost. Then you had to go into 2 overtimes just to beat Cleveland.
They ain't beat them.
I mean, you didn't beat Cleveland, then you lost again. So just imagine that wear and tear on him. So you hoping that it's better. It's better that you can get rest or they make a trade. You know?
So you got. let me ask you this question.
go ahead real quick.
You got those 3 to start your team with right now. You saying, man, I need to go win an NBA championship. Who you picking out of these 3?
LeBron.
And then second.
LeBron.
No, second.
Joel Embiid. Look. Hey, we got to press pause on this, man. I appreciate my brothers coming out here, Will Franklin, Ty Coleman, I'm Zelman Sanders. We appreciate you all for coming and see us again for more Press Play. Peace.